This is the American interpretation of this graph. We have many friends among tall countries and short countries alike. You guys see the U.S. right there? No. Humor. We have frozen. You know, we've got a little depth going on right there. The advantages of Singapore math. This is the main thing I'm going to be talking about today, these 5 advantages. Long units, you don't do fractions for 3 or 4 days. 3rd grade, and then again in 4th grade, and then again in 5th grade, and again in 6th grade, and 7th, and 8th, and if you're unlucky, in 9th and 10th and 11th. You spend 2 to 6 weeks of 5th grade on long fraction unit until they can do it in their sleep. The concepts are introduced at the concrete level with manipulatives transferred slowly to the pictorial representation of those manipulatives. Feel free to have a seat. And then transferred to the abstract algorithm so that they can actually do math. There's a beautiful visual approach to your word problems using rectangles. Not go through that today. There's very strong, oh dear, very strong mental math component. And excellent. Did someone say mental math? So this is where you get a little bit of a workout. If you turn to page 6, there's a recording sheet. There are pencils in the back, if you don't have one. Calvin. You got to admire Calvin for his attitude, right? And this, some rules here. There are only 8 problems. Don't panic. You have to, you can only write down the answer. You're not supposed to actually write out the problem and cross out the 2 and write a 1 and carry them. You're actually supposed to try to do it in your head, try to find ways to do it in your head. They are timed, so I'm hands off on the remote here. They're timed to 7 seconds. So, are you okay? 56 seconds? Yep. Now it's going to cry. This is ready. And number 1. 24 plus 37. 2. 46 plus 29. 3. 45 minus 29. 4. 82 minus 28. 5 times 24. 6. 24 times 11. 7. 426 divided by 6. 8. 504 divided by 7. You can breathe. So, you know what? You're going to do better 40 minutes from now, all right? I can almost promise you this. We're going to try. We're going to do our best. So, don't let that make you nervous. It makes kids nervous. I don't have to grade mental math. And I don't do 7 seconds until, well into middle school. Start 5 seconds. Oh, Calvin saying, I like this part here. Math is like a religion. You either believe it or you don't. This whole book is full of things that have to be accepted on faith. And it's a religion. And in the public schools, no less. Hallelujah. As a math atheist, I should be excused from this. So that's the way a lot of us feel. So let's do, before I go on to the other points, let's do just a few little tricks. The first problem you have, I think, was 18 plus 25. A good trick is to know that 18 can be freed of its 5. Take 5 and put it on the 25. I think of addition as 2 piles of pennies. You have 18 piles in one pile, 25 pennies in 18 pennies and 25 pennies in the other pile, and you're transferring pennies from one pile to the other, does the total change? No, of course not. So move those 5 pennies over there. And you got 1330, 3013, which David Burke called a silly number. 3013 is 43. Actually, say it to yourself, 3013, and then you know what it is. Oh, there's another way to do this. Take 2 pennies from the 25, put on the 18. That leaves 23 on the right, and 20 on the left. You've got 20 and 23, which is a lot easier. So you're looking for multiples of 10. Oh, another one. Oh, this is what I usually use. This is probably my favorite. I do the 10s, and then I've got 10 and 20s, 30. And then I do the 1s, so I've got 30, 13 again. 30, 13. And I actually say it, 30, 13, and write down 43. Somehow that works for me. I don't know what happened there. But let's go on to, that was for the ghost myth on that. But let's go on to the advantages. As I said, I was going to do a list of 5 advantages. I'm going to do the first 2 together. Long units allow you to have a conceptual development that is concrete, pictorial, abstract. Shouldn't have done this. One last dig at the American textbook. I apologize. So Singapore in first grade would have 34 lessons. Third grade, 42. Sixth grade is actually fewer at 24. And compare that to the hundreds in the American textbooks. You just can't do it. You can't do a lesson justice in that short amount of time.
Are those numbers in the American essentially the days of school?
I suppose. It's from that study that I mentioned a moment ago, AIR, American Institute for Research. And Calvin's dad says that he has to do his homework or stay in first grade forever. And so Hobbes says that he's visualizing him as a 45-year-old in first grade. Here are the units that the first grade textbook now, the California Standards textbook from Singapore, contains, and it is in your handout, pages 3, 4, and 5, has the whole scope. We don't use Singapore math in kindergarten. We use math their way. The new early bird kindergarten series, Corinne feels is probably too easy for American children, and I have to agree with her that it's kind of preschoolish. It's kind of like the things you would learn in late preschool. So we use math their way with a little bit of book 1 in Singapore math. First graders come from kindergarten with a developing sense of numbers, not with rote learning. They're not taught symbols first. For example, I went in last week and this kindergarten teacher, they're playing peas and carrots. This was the table that had to do 5. There was another table that was doing 7 and another table that was doing 8. And this table had just peas and carrots, whereas another table had peas and carrots and broccoli, I think. But they had to make 5. They had to write down then all the number combinations that made 5. So this little girl was actually putting in the little green pieces of paper of peas and the little red ones for carrots, and still counting on her fingers, and that's fine. If that's where she is, that's where she is. So that the writing down here is almost an afterthought, as part of the number bond. So we know that 5, 3, and 2 make a number bond. 3 peas and 2 carrots, for example. 0 and 4 make a number